It is a good time to be an entrepreneur. One survey says that entrepreneurs are overwhelmingly optimistic about the global business climate. The Entrepreneurs Organization, a global network for business starters, says that just over half of its members hired new full-time employees in the first half of this year. Globally, entrepreneurs reported increased access to capital, more willingness to start new businesses, and they expect to see more profit in the second half of this year. Almost half of the 5,800 entrepreneurs who took the survey live in the U.S. 83% say they expect to bring in even more money over the next 6 months. Now, for a more in-depth look at the 2015 Global Entrepreneur Indicator, I spoke to Blair Assaly. He's the global chairman of the Entrepreneurs Organization, the one that conducted the survey, and I asked him how entrepreneurs feel about the future.
Well, what we learned was we surveyed 6,000 entrepreneurs globally. And what we found out is entrepreneurs are very optimistic, they're growing their businesses, and they're hiring globally. So that's a common theme that we've seen. And in some areas, it's been more successful, a little more bullish. But overall, of those 6,000 entrepreneurs, everyone is optimistic.
In the U.S., your number hits 90% of U.S. respondents reported a willingness to start a business in this country. I have to imagine that's got to be close to an historic high. What explains that?
What I think it is right now is after going through a rough 5-6 years, nationally, people feel good about where the economy is going right now, and they think that there's plenty of opportunity up there to continue to grow and branch out into other areas.
To be an entrepreneur, you're going to have to either quit your job,
right,
or you quit something to start something completely brand new usually, and you're not going to have a steady paycheck, and you're going to take an awful lot of risk. It takes a certain type of individual. Are they young? Are they old? Are there more women? Are there more men? What did you find out?
Well, listen, it's the gambit. I mean, you can't put them in gender specific, age specific, or culturally specific. What we found is entrepreneurs have a different way of looking at things. They look at life through a different lens. Where others see adversity, entrepreneurs see opportunity. That's the biggest thing that I've seen. And to me and to our entrepreneurs, when I go around the world and speak, a common word that always comes through is freedom. Entrepreneurs have the freedom. They have the freedom to succeed. They have the freedom to make mistakes. But the one thing is it doesn't end at 9 to 5. It doesn't end at 9 to 5. And sometimes you worry about making payroll, but at the end of the day, it comes down to freedom and being able to make your choices, your decisions.
Looking at Asia, you also had numbers on China as well. 78% of respondents in Asia say they're willing to start a business or think it's a good time, 75% in China. How are the numbers in China different than the rest of the world?
Well, China came in, when you look at Asia and South Asia in particular, China was a little bit lower. South Asia was the most optimistic. India, in general, the most optimistic region that we're currently in. We have 15 chapters in India. China was a little less optimistic. I mean, obviously, we've heard for a few years now that their economy could be slowing down a bit. But entrepreneurs, they see opportunities. Even when an economy is slowing down, that's an opportunity for entrepreneurs. So when I look at 75% of Chinese entrepreneur members would start a new business, that to me is still a very bullish number.
Give us a little sampling of some of the hottest businesses are being started. It's you and I spoke earlier. A lot of them are food related, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that. It could run the gamut of different types of industries, right?
Right. So I mean, we're always talking tech. We're seeing people coming out with new technologies every single day. But one of the things in the Entrepreneurs Organization that we've started to see a little more of is social entrepreneurship. And we're seeing this globally. We had a conference last year in Penang, Malaysia, where the theme was social entrepreneurship. So it's how can we give back and do something good for a local community economy, but at the same time make money. And so we had a whole conference, a 4-day conference dedicated to social entrepreneurship. So that's a trend that we're seeing increasing in our organization right now around the world.
One of the biggest things I hear from entrepreneurs and small business owners is always the issue of access to capital. If you don't have the money, it's very difficult to start or expand your existing business. And I have to imagine with the global economy, granted it's not going gangbusters, but it's significantly better than it was 5 years ago. With rates being where they're at, that has to help at least the entrepreneurial spirit and say, hey, I can borrow money for relatively cheap. I can go out and start a restaurant or a cafe and I can hire workers. That's got to help, right? The current monetary environment.
It does, and it's interesting because the traditional, in the countries, the traditional way of getting investing, the banks, the credit unions, yes, the market is better, but where a lot of entrepreneurs starting out, smaller entrepreneurs, I mean, in our organization, Entrepreneurs Organization, we started $1 million in revenue US and go from there. Still, one of the areas is going to friends and family for those startup loans to start. And quite frankly, that's increasing because friends and family feel comfortable about the environment. They feel confident about the environment. So it's not only the banks and the credit unions, it's also going to secondary places like friends and family to get a startup.
How important do you think education is as part of starting up? Because I've heard both sides of the argument. On one hand, if you're very educated, it actually makes it harder because you're probably asking too many questions to get going. On the other hand, there are some people who aren't the Harvard grads, and they're running extremely successful businesses because they put their heart and passion into the business.
Correct. Again, I don't think there's a right or wrong formula. I mean, what I think it is when you look at the Entrepreneurs Organization, we're the largest peer-to-peer network of entrepreneurs in the world. So we're close to 1,000 members in 47 countries. So what we found is why entrepreneurs gravitate to the organization is they need that support network. They need to learn from each other's experiences, and that's what our organization does. So whether you are that Harvard grad or you're just starting up, you've lost your job and you're looking at doing something, education doesn't play a point. What plays a part is lifelong learning. As entrepreneurs, we are committed to lifelong learning. We believe that it's never too late, and that's a common thread that you see running through entrepreneurs around the world. They're willing to listen and learn.